Hello students of class 11th, how are you? I hope you all are fine. So dear students, let us continue with chapter 5, Mother's Day, written by J.B. Priestley. Okay. So dear student, as we have seen Mother's Day written by J.B. Priestley, it's a play in which the writer wants to show us the condition of a housewife. In this play, Mrs. Pearson is a housewife. Mrs. Pearson has one son, one daughter and one husband. They do not give her any respect and they expect her to do everything for them, and she was doing everything for them. She was preparing food, as you know every housewife do. So in the same way, she was also preparing food, cleaning their clothes, ironing the clothes, so everything, because they would go for working, they would go out for working, so that is why she was doing everything for them, but in return she receives nothing, not even thanks. Mrs. Fitzgerald, neighbor of Mrs. Pearson, she forces her that she should be strict, she should behave them strictly, she should teach them a lesson, so that they should respect Mrs. Pearson. Mrs. Pearson could not make this promise because she did not want to hurt any member of her family. Then Mrs. Fitzgerald told her that she had learned some art, and using that art she could exchange the personality, and finally she did it. She exchanged the personality. Now Mrs. Pearson is with Mrs. Fitzgerald personality, and Mrs. Fitzgerald is with Mrs. Pearson's personality. So with Mrs. Pearson's personality, with Mrs. Fitzgerald personality, Mrs. Pearson went to Mrs. Fitzgerald with Mrs. Pearson's personality. She went to Mrs. Pearson's house. This is what I meant to say. Okay. And Mrs. Pearson, now with Mrs. Fitzgerald personality, she went to Mrs. Fitzgerald's home. Okay. So then we have seen that when Doris enters, she was in a hurry to go out. So without paying any notice, she asked for tea. She asked whether her yellow silk was ironed or not. But when she saw her mother, smoking, she got shocked, because Mrs. Pearson, she never smoked in her life, and Doris had never seen her smoking. So that is why she got shocked when she saw her smoking. And then her way of talking, all things, her way of behaving, all things were different. She denied to prepare the tea, she refused to iron the clothes. So all these things made her more unhappy, made her sad. Then Cyril enters, and same behavior, she behaved in the same way with Cyril. So he was also disappointed, he was also very angry, and they both could not understand what happened to their mother. Okay, then what happened next in the story, in the play? So let us read out and come to know. So open your book at page number 42 now. So you all are requested to open your book at page number 42. So in my last video I explained till page number 42. Yes, today I have to start explaining from page number 43. Okay, today I will start reading out an explanation from page number 43. Doris, aghast, go off for the weekend. Doris, filled with the horror and shock, and she said, go off for the weekend. Means you are going to take leave at the weekend. Mrs. Pearson, why not? Mrs. Pearson said, why not? I could do with a change. Now I want a change, and I can do it with a change. Stuck here day after day, week after week. If I don't need a change, who does? So she said, I have stuck here day after day, week after week, and if I don't need a change, who does? If I don't need a change, then who needs a change? Of course I need a change, and it is for change. Whatever I am doing, it is for change. Doris, but where would you go? Who would you go with? But you need a change, you want to go out at the weekend, but where would you go and with whom? Mrs. Pearson, that's my business. So where I would go, with whom I would go, that's my business. That's not your business. You don't ask me where you should go and who should go with to you. So you don't ask me where you should go. Do you ask me where you should go and to whom you should go? So do you ask me? So you don't ask me where you should go and with whom you should go. Okay, do you? Doris, that's different. Doris said, if I go somewhere with someone, it's different, and it's different for you. Mrs. Pearson, the only difference is that I'm a lot older and better able to look after myself. She said, only difference is that between me and you, the only difference is that I am a lot older and better able to look after myself. I am older than you and I am able to look after myself. So it's you who should do the asking. So it's you who should be asked, not me. Doris, did you fall or hit yourself with something? So did you fall somewhere or hit something? So the way you are behaving today is very strange. What happened with you? Mrs. Pearson, coldly, no, I'll hit you with something. I did not hit with something. Instead, if you keep asking such rubbish questions to me, then I will hit you with something. If you don't stop asking silly questions. Doris now stares at her open-mouthed. Now Doris kept on staring at her mother, open-mouthed, ready to cry. Now she is about to cry. Doris, oh, this is awful. She brings to cry, not passionately. So she here brings to cry in an uncontrolled way. Mrs. Pearson coldly, stop blubbering. So Mrs. Pearson said, stop blubbering, stop crying, stop making noise. Blubbering means, let me write some, these words and their meanings, then I'll explain. Okay? The first word is aghast. Aghast means filled with horror or shock. Filled with horror or shock. Okay. Next, blubbering. Blubbering means cry noisily and uncontrollably. Cry noisily and uncontrollably. Okay, or also you can say sobbing. Next word is pompous. Pompous means affectedly grand, affectedly great. Grand means very fat. Affectedly grand. Okay, which means self-important, solemn. Okay, so please note them down. So I hope you have noted them down. Let's continue. Yes, Mrs. Pearson said, "Stop blubbering, stop crying noisily and uncontrollably, stop sobbing. If you are old enough to go out with Charlie Spence, you are old enough to behave properly." She said, if you are old enough to go out with Charlie Spence, then you are also, you are also old enough to behave properly. You should know how to behave properly. If you can go with Charlie Spence, so you need not any permission, you are able to take decision of going with Charlie Spence, so you are able to also you are able to learn how to behave with someone properly. Now stop it. George Pearson enters left. Now it is the entry of third person, Mrs. Pearson's husband, George Pearson. George Pearson enters left. He is about 50, fundamentally decent. So he is about 50, basically decent but solemn, means serious, self-important, pompous, affectedly grand, preferably he should be a heavy, slow-moving type. So if you have to perform this role, play this role, so if you have to make anyone perform this role, then he should be a heavy, slow-moving type person. Now he notices Doris tears. Now George Pearson, he notices Doris tears. George, hello, what is this? Can't be anything to cry about. What is this? So why are you crying? Doris, through sobs, you will see. So you will come to know why I am crying. Very soon you will get to know. Doris runs out left. Now in the scene, what happens? Doris runs out left with a sob or two. On the way, George stares after her a moment and looks at Mrs. Pearson. So now after looking at her one or two moments, then George Pearson looks at Mrs. Pearson. George, did she say you will see? So he said, did she say you will see? Mrs. Pearson, yes. George, what did she mean? Mrs. Mrs. Pearson, better ask her. She said, you had better ask her. What did she mean? George looked slowly again at the door, then at Mrs. Pearson. George then looks at the doors, then Mrs. Pearson. Okay. Then he notices the stout that Mrs. Pearson raises for another sip. Then he notices the beer when Mrs. Pearson lifts for another sip. George stares after a moment, then he looks, Mrs. Pearson raises for a sip. His eyes almost bulge. He was almost shocked. His eyes kept open. Okay, got shocked after seeing that she was drinking beer. It's not beer, it's beer. Bear is an animal, it's beer. The pronunciation is different. George, stout. Mrs. Pearson, yes. George said, beer. She said, yes. George, amazed, what are you drinking stout for? He asked, why are you drinking stout? Why are you drinking beer? Mrs. Pearson, because I fancied some, because I loved some. George, at this time of the day, he said, at this time of the day you are drinking beer. Mrs. Pearson, yes, what's wrong with it at this time of day? What's wrong with it at this time of the day? What's wrong in it? George, bewildered. Now George, he's shocked, he's surprised. Nothing, I suppose but I have never seen you do it before. He said, I have never seen you drinking stout, drinking beer before. Mrs. Pearson, well, you are seeing me now. If you haven't seen me before, you are seeing me now. George, with heavy distaste, with a heavy surprise. Yes, and I don't like it. It doesn't look right. And he said, I don't like that you are drinking stout, and it doesn't look right, and it is not right. I am surprised at you. I am surprised to see you. Mrs. Pearson, well, that ought to be a nice change for you. So she said, so that ought to be, it should be a nice change for you. George, what do you mean? Mrs. Pearson, it must be some time since you were surprised at me, George. So she said, it must be some time since you were surprised at me. George, I don't like surprises. George said, I don't want to surprise, I don't like surprises. I am all for a steady going on. You ought to know that by this time, by the way, so you should know I am a steady man, so I don't like surprises. By the way, I forgot to tell you this morning, I wouldn't want any tea. Further he said, by the way, I had forgotten to inform you in the morning that I don't want to take tea. Special snooker match night at club tonight. He said tonight there is a special snooker match. It is not special snooker match, a type of game which is played in the club. You must have seen with a stick and ball. Okay, so there is a snooker match night at the club tonight, and a bit of supper going, so no tea. And he said a supper also will be there, dinner also will be there, so that is why I don't want to take tea. Mrs. Pearson, that's all right, there isn't any. So he said, okay, you don't want tea and tea isn't ready. George, astonished, surprised, you mean you didn't get any ready? So you mean to say you haven't got the tea ready? You did not get the tea ready? Mrs. Pearson, yes, and a good thing too, as it's turned out. And it's also a good thing that you don't want tea and I haven't prepared the tea. So it is very good thing. George, now aggrieved, now angrily. That's all very well, but suppose I had wanted some. But suppose if I had wanted tea, then? Mrs. Pearson, my goodness, listen to the man, annoyed because I don't get a tea for him that he doesn't even want. She said, my goodness, hey Bhagwan, listen to him. Isko dekho, annoyed because I don't get a tea for him that he doesn't even want. इसलिए गुस्सा हो रहे हैं कि मैंने इनके लिए टी नहीं बनाया और जो इनको चाहिए ही नहीं. Why I explained in Hindi? Because it's very interesting. She said, इनको देखो, इसलिए गुस्सा हो रहे हैं कि क्योंकि मैंने इनके लिए चाय नहीं बनाया और चाय इनको चाहिए भी नहीं. What a man! हे भगवान. Okay. I ever tried that at the club? She said, have you ever tried this attitude at the club? George, tried what at the club? What I tried at the club? Mrs. Pearson, going up to the bar and telling them you don't want a glass of beer, but you are annoyed because they haven't already poured it out. So have you ever go to them and ask them, I don't want beer, but I am very angry because you haven't poured the beer in the glass. So have you ever tried it in the club? She said, क्या क्लब में कभी इसको ट्राई किया है कि जाके बोला है कि मुझे बियर नहीं चाहिए और फिर भी मुझे गुस्सा आ रहा है क्योंकि तुमने बियर को ग्लास में नहीं डाला है? कभी अपने क्लब में भी इस तरह का गुस्सा दिखाया है? She said. George, I don't know what you are talking about. George, I do not understand. George said, what are you talking about? Mrs. Pearson, they would laugh at you even more than they do now. She said, they would laugh at you even more that they do now. Still they laugh at you, but if you behave this way, they would laugh at you more. Now look at page number 45. Indignantly, George, indignantly laugh at me. Now George, angrily laugh at me. They don't laugh at me. So they refers to the member of the club. He said, they don't laugh at me. Mrs. Pearson, of course they do. Of course they laugh. You ought to have found that out by this time. By this time you ought to have found out. You should have found out, but you haven't. They laugh at you. Anybody else would have done. So if anyone other at the place of you, so he must have discovered, he must have known that the members of the club laugh at you. You are one of their standing joke. Further she added, you are one of their standing jokes. Famous. They call you Pompey Wompy Pearson. She said, the members of the club, they call you Pompey Wompy Pearson because they think you are so slow and pompous. Because the members of the club, they think you are very slow and you are affectedly grand. So that is why they make fun of you behind you by saying Pompey Wompy Pearson. George, horrified, now became very angry. He said, never. Mrs. Pearson, it's always beaten me. Why you should want to spend so much time at a place where they are always laughing at you behind your back and calling you names? So she said, it always hurts me. How you spend your time with those people who make fun of you behind you? They call you they call you names. Names may call you names means they call you with different name, they tease you, they use a different term for you, different terms for you. So behind you, behind your back, and calling you names. They calling you names also means abuse. They abuse you. So why you spend your time with them? It hurts me. Leaving your wife at home night after night. So leaving your wife at home night after night, you spend your time with those members who tease you, instead of going out with her, instead of going out with your wife, who doesn't make you look a fool. So who doesn't make you look a fool? Your wife doesn't make you look a fool, even though you spend your time with those who make you fool, who call you fool, who call you names behind you. Now what happens in the scene? Cyril enters right. Now Cyril enters right with a glass of milk in one hand and a thick slice of cake. A glass of milk in hand and a thick slice of cake in the other. George, almost dazed, turns to him appealingly. George almost, he was also in great surprise, and now turns him with sympathy. Now turns towards Cyril in sympathy, with sympathy. George: here Cyril, you have been with me to the club once or twice. So he asked Cyril, you have been to the club once or twice. They don't laugh at me and call me Pompey Wompy Pearson. Now he was confirming with Cyril that whether they used to call him Pompey Wompy Pearson. So Cyril, embarrassed, hesitates. Now Cyril here hesitates. Now George said him angrily, go on, tell me, do they? Go on and tell me, really, do they call me Pompey Wompy Pearson? Cyril, embarrassed, now again embarrassed, feeling shy little bit, and well, yes, he said, yes, Dad, I am afraid they do. Yes, I am sorry, they do. They call you Pompey Wompy Pearson. George slowly looks from one to the other, staggered. Now George, in surprise, he looked one to the other. George slowly, well, I'll be damned. Well, so I'll be damned. So he was in anger. He was very angry. George exits left. Now he exits left slowly, almost as if somebody had hit him over the head. As if somebody hit him over the head. So he left from the scene. Cyril, after watching him go, turns indignantly to Mrs. Pearson. After George left, now Cyril turns in anger, angrily. Angrily he turns towards Mrs. Pearson. Cyril, now you should not have, Cyril said to Mrs. Pearson, you should not have told him that, Mum. Mum, you should not have told him that the club members call him Pompey Wompy Pearson. That's not fair. It is not fair. You have hurt his feelings, mine too. And he said, by saying so, you have hurt his feelings, and mine too. You have also hurt my feelings. Mrs. Pearson, sometimes it does people good to have their feelings hurt. She said, sometimes it is for the betterment of people to hurt their feelings, to get their feelings hurt, to have their feelings hurt. The truth oughtn't to hurt anybody for long. So the truth does not hurt anyone for long. If your father didn't go to the club so often, perhaps they would stop laughing at him. If your father, he would not go to the club so often, then they would stop calling him Pompey Wompy Pearson. They would stop laughing at him. Cyril, gloomily, I doubt it. Cyril said, I doubt it. Okay, students. So till page number 45 I have explained, and in my next video I will explain some more pages. It's a very long story, so it will take, I think, 4 or 5 more videos to finish. Okay, so as we have seen, this is very humorous play which tells us in a very humorous way, tells us condition about a housewife and never Mrs. Fitzgerald, how she planned the idea of exchanging the personality, and this idea works. Now one by one he is trying to bring Mrs. Pearson's family members on right path, so that they would behave with Mrs. Pearson's in a proper manner. Okay, so see you tomorrow in my next video. Thank you for watching it.